change is hard, but change is everywhere. And I got really, really tired of just running into those problems. And so I told the toxic boss to find somebody else for that seat on the bus. And off I went. I really did. And I never looked back.
Yeah, you mentioned, some of your favorite drinks being rosé and prosecco. I feel like we should have had some and discussed similar experiences. Because likewise.
Let's talk Tales.
On Tales with Taylor today, we will be speaking with a highly collaborative marketing and leadership professional with 2 decades of experience driving meaningful growth for organizations and regulated B2B industries. In addition to marketing and journalism degrees, she holds industry-leading certifications from the American Marketing Association, Digital Marketing Institute, Product Marketing Alliance, and Marketing AI Institute. She is the founder and CEO of Compression Marketing and the 2025-2026 Phoenix American Marketing Association Chapter President. It's Meredith Dennis. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Now, I would love to know the tale behind the name of your business.
I love telling that story. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
I will try and tell it in as concise a way as possible.
As long as you want. We're all here hanging out, having fun.
So compression marketing, when you start a business, the name of your business is usually pretty personal and pretty important. And so but you also want it to resonate and make sense to your customers. And so I actually spent a long time thinking about what I wanted my company to be called. And compression marketing, the important part of that is compression. And you might see that the logo, if you look at it just right, looks a little bit like a key. Okay. So this harkens back to my childhood and early adolescence working on classic cars with my dad.
Oh, fun.
And he taught me all about how a combustion engine works and the importance of compression, creating speed and heat and propulsion and power. And so I took from that experience growing up the importance of compression in creating momentum and, allowing an engine to work and allowing a car to move and all of the things that encompassed. And so I was like, that really translates to what marketing is about and creating momentum and creating forward motion and all of those good things. And so I was like, that to me just makes sense. And so compression marketing is really based on that philosophy that compression is what makes the engine go.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And so I feel like marketing is the engine that helps a lot of businesses go.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to compression marketing.
That is lovely. So tell me now, what was one of your favorite cars that you worked on with your dad?
So we actually rebuilt a 1972 Volkswagen Super Beetle. It was my very first car when I turned 16. And it actually was also my mom's very first car in 1972. My grandfather purchased it for her. It was her car that she drove around. And then at some point it got, parked in a garage and actually in a field and, kind of rotted away like a lot of old cars do. But we revived it and I got to rebuild that engine. I got to paint that car. I got to upholster the seats. So we rebuilt that as my very first car that I learned how to drive. It was a stick shift, learning how to do all of that very mechanical driving. And I still have the car to this day.
No way.
I do. It's sitting in my garage right now.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, what color is this car?
It is actually blue.
Okay.
That is a complete coincidence that it is also blue. But it's like a metallic midnight. So in the sun, it sparkles and it glitters. And it's
Do you ever take her out for a little joyride?
When the weather's cool enough, yeah. It's an air-cooled engine and it doesn't have air conditioning, so
winter time. So November to February,
yes,
it feels like.
Yes,
okay.
It is the fun, cool weather car, at least voice in this part of the
Yeah, you should definitely take it out. Like, it sounds like it's like the compression marketing card. It sounds like it was the inspiration, around the name of your, hobby you had with your dad, the color, know that midnight blue, see that in the corner. Like, look at, wow.
It's so fun when those things just sort of come together.
Yeah, like it's meant to be or something.
Exactly.
How amazing is that? Now, with marketing, there are so many different nuances to marketing. Like, we focus on video marketing. So everything that we do is with a, video lens. And so what particular lens or what particular area of marketing would you say is compression marketing's expertise?
We are focused almost exclusively on strategy development so that all of the tactical decisions you make roll up to a plan that's supposed to drive the right kind of growth. The marketing umbrella is huge. There's a lot that lives under there these days. And so we focus on really partnering with organizations to develop strategies that are simplified. We have a tendency to overcomplicate a lot of things in the world of marketing, at least in my experience. So we really like to focus on a simple, practical strategy that is going to be something that you can actually implement and work against and grow from. A lot of times it is really hard to say, no, you can't do 75 things at once. You've got to pick a small handful of things that you're going to do really, really well. And then that's actually going to give you the space to do more and do more and do more. So we really try to make sure that we zero in on what is the strategy that's going to help you get from here to where you want to go.
So my next question for you then is, if someone's just getting started, because a lot of the audience here, they are just starting a business, or maybe they've been in business for a while, what would be some of those first initial things you would tell people to think about or initial steps that you would recommend, someone getting into business in terms of marketing and marketing strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. Starting a business sounds like a big, scary thing.
Well, it is a little bit of a big, scary thing.
It can absolutely be. And it can absolutely be a big, scary thing. And I think when I thought about this, I think I took a trajectory that a lot of people do, is I pivoted from working full time to doing some side hustle stuff and freelancing, and it sort of grew from there. It was like, oh, I could do this and I could do that, and eventually it became this. Well, I could actually run a business. I could actually make a company out of this. And so when I think about what it means to go into business, that can be defined very differently for a lot of people. In my case, I actually started a company. I formed an LLC. I incorporated as an S Corp. I separated everything from my personal life. So I have a standalone business. And the thing that I would encourage people to really think about, if that's the path they're going to take, is what is it that is driving the reason for creating the business? And is it going to be the thing that you do full time? Or is it a really fancy hobby?
Right.
And, getting starting in marketing, like we said before, right? It's such a big umbrella. Pick one or two things and focus on those. Like, y'all focus on video and the importance and impact of that. It would be really, really hard for someone to do video and do strategy and do ad placement and do, media buying. It's just and, right?
Yeah. Hence, I love connecting with fellow marketers like yourself. So then we can almost build like this coalition of trusted strategic partners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when, to go back to what you were asking around how do you do that? Or what's the first thing you should do if you're really going to start a business? Honestly, this might sound a little counterintuitive. You don't have to have the name. You don't have to have the LLC structure. You don't have to have all of the core things done yet. You just have to go out and you have to start. You have to go out and do some of the work. And the rest, honestly, will kind of fall into place. I think the thing that stops people is they want it to be perfect. You want to have this beautiful, gorgeous business plan, and you want to have a really great structure, and you want to have everything figured out. And I think that stops a lot of people from starting. And I would say that it is far better to just do the thing and fill in the gaps than not do it, because you will let perfect be the enemy of good, and it'll never go. So you have to have a willingness to take a little bit of risk.
That's a really good piece of advice for people, because also it's a little bit easier to do things when you at least have like that one paying client. Get that first paying client, and then you're right, the rest can just fall in. And it's just a matter, I say it's not real until it's written down. And so just write down, when are you going to finish the paperwork for the LLC? It's $50, at least in Arizona currently with the Arizona Corporation Commissions. Check the website to see what the current running rates is, especially for your own state. But it's you're right. It's just yellow tape. Like, it shouldn't stop you if you truly have a desire. Now, what was the tale that you told yourself when you chose to have the desire to have a full business?
So I had been, for a very long time, I had credited myself with being an entrepreneurial spirit, right? And I brought that entrepreneurial spirit to my W-2 jobs. Like, I could be that person that would work hard and do great things and come up with awesome ideas. And I was really satisfied with being a top performing employee within a corporate structure. And I learned a ton. I mean, it's where I am battle tested, is from corporate America, right?
Yes.
And the thing, honestly, that sort of led me to make the shift was I had gotten to the point where I had had just one too many of the same experience with leaders. I had sort of gotten to this upper limit where I kept running into the same kinds of conflicts and the same kind of friction in making progress. And frankly, it was exhausting. And the tipping point for me was I essentially was working for a toxic boss. Like I was finally in that scenario where I had a really toxic leadership experience, and I kind of just got to this, like, I'm done. I'm done. This is ridiculous. There's no reason to have this much friction and this much pushback to try and make things happen. Change is hard, but change is everywhere. And I got really, really tired of just running into those problems. And so I told the toxic boss to find somebody else for that seat on the bus, and off I went. I really did. And I never looked back. And it was one of the best decisions I ever could have made. And it was that push I needed to actually commit to starting my own business.
Yeah, you mentioned, some of your favorite drinks being rosé and prosecco. I feel like we should have had some and discuss similar experiences. Because likewise. And sometimes, we got to be grateful for those horrible bosses, because it is that extra push. You said that you had the entrepreneurial spirit. I'm sure there was something bubbling underneath, but there was never that like do or die kind of mentality until you're just like, what would I rather do? Just deal with this nonsense? And for me, I was even just starting to get like physically sick just dealing with it. Or do you just take the plunge, and at least it's your own willpower, it's your own duty. It just feels differently when you're working more hours. It doesn't feel quite like it's more hours, because it's your own baby, it's your own thing.
Exactly. Work takes on a whole different definition when you can think about it that way. It's not for someone else or for someone else's benefit. It's for your benefit.
Right. And for your loved ones' benefits, because you got to think about the holistic view too. I know for myself too, the mental health, and then leads into your physical health and so forth. Absolutely. And then the legacy that you can potentially build with your business if you choose to structure it that way. If you choose to, have employees and do those types of things where then, there is a succession plan.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I've observed a lot is that entrepreneurial spirit is, you see it on a lot of job descriptions. Right? We want people that are entrepreneurial in mindset, but we don't want you to actually be an entrepreneur.
We don't want you to actually leave us.
Yeah.
We want you to be independent.
And so I think that's the thing I see all the time is like, corporate America doesn't actually want entrepreneurs working in those seats. And I think that there's a lot of creativity. I mentioned earlier risk. Like risk, there's some, this is a big decision. I'm putting myself on the line here. There are some things about that are really important to be aware of, and having that self-awareness and understanding what that's going to take. I love what you said about, it being for not just yourself, but also for your family and for your life. I mean, it is a very different kind of commitment.
It is, but it's definitely more fulfilling, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, if you're in that rut still, especially that year one rut, just keep on going, keep that why in mind. I feel, I always say write things down, something about the power of writing it down.
Yes.
It makes it just stick that much more.
Yes. A hack for people. If they are in that first year and it's feeling hard and they want to write things down at the end of every single day, just write down three good things that happened.
Nice.
And they don't have to be like landed the $1 million client. It can literally be had a really great conversation. It can be small things, but every day, write down 3 things that just went well, that went right, that went good. And you'll be able to look back on that at the end of that first hard year, and you'll see so many incredible things that you've done and how much progress you've really made.
That's a really good one. Something that I personally do is I still actually handwrite a lot of my to-dos, like tasks that I have to do when I need to do. And some days where I feel like maybe I wasn't as productive as I wanted to be, I can look back and then I'll scratch off in a different color when the task is done. So I go, oh, okay, there's actually quite a bit of black scratches. Like, on a day where maybe I'm just like, wow, I wasn't productive. Maybe I was just on too many phone calls, too many meetings. And then it's still like, oh, wait, I still did send out this proposal. I still did do these other little things that I needed to do. So, anything like that can just give you that little mental reminder. I know a book for me that also has really helped was Miracle Morning. And just starting with that nice routine, and especially one with like gratitude and really writing down, starting in that mindset just helps, break away noise. Don't look at your phone.
Yes.
And, start on the right foot. Yeah. Are there, tales that you've read or heard or watched that have really inspired you, or just something you enjoy that just puts you in the right mood?
I've also read Miracle Morning and agree. There's something about, especially when you're trying to create and build and run a company, there is something about that quiet time to center yourself and your mind and not look at your phone first thing, which is something I think we're all guilty of these days. There's also the brain connection of what happens when you do physically write things down. There's a power in that. Some of I'm a pretty voracious reader, awesome. Which I think is important for anybody that wants to continue to work on themselves and growing a business or growing their own, just for themselves. I think reading is really important. I love Atomic Habits.
Yes,
James Clear. I think everybody at this point probably recommends that book. I reread it on occasion because I always extract something new from it that I can apply and think about differently than I could the first time I read it. So I will, I'll jump on that bandwagon and say that one's a great one also. I've also read Play Big from Jen Welter. Okay. She was the first female NFL coach.
Oh, okay.
And
San Francisco?
Arizona, actually, I believe.
Oh,
she was
yes,
with Bruce Arians. Yeah. Yep. But she also played in a female flag football league before she ever became a coach. But the book is a really wonderful story, and it's basically her autobiography of a lot of things that she overcame and did in the face of someone saying she couldn't, or she was too small, or she was too fill in the blank. So I really, really enjoy that book. It's a great sort of battle cry, a call to action of like, don't let people tell you can't, because you can. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take effort, but it's worth it. So Play Big from Dr. Jen Welter, definitely one that I would add to the list. I could probably run down books, all day long. From a more maybe practical, tactical perspective, Nancy Harhut wrote the Behavioral Science and Marketing.
Okay.
It is, as far as I'm concerned, sort of the playbook. Every marketer should have a copy on their desk as reference material when it comes to preparing copy, preparing content, thinking about campaign plans. It's just such a helpful, insightful, practical resource that I would definitely suggest people pick up.
Excellent. And, would you recommend, would it still fit well today given the world of AI?
That's a great question. And yes, I think there are so many things out there right now that it's hard to know what to pay attention to. There's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
lot of noise. And cutting through that is hard. And things are changing fast, probably faster than they ever have. But that book and the core principles of how we as human beings process information, make decisions, what our brains are drawn to, and how they work, that's all still true. Biologically, we have not evolved that much in the last, few years, along with all of the AI advancements. And so I think the humanity piece of all of that is still incredibly important and incredibly core to what we do and how we do it.
Excellent. Love that. Now, if you were to write a book, what would be the title of that tale?
Oh, that's such a good question, and something I've actually been thinking about.
Oh, very nice.
As I think a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of female leaders, I think about what's my legacy, what's my story. I have been spending a lot of time thinking about identity lately, and the strength that it takes to do a lot of things. And so I've come up with this concept where if I were to write a book, or my inspirational keynote would be something along the lines of you can, you will, you absolutely can succeed. Because I think we get told no a lot.
Got it.
And so my hook has always been, you won't make it. And other lies you've been told.
All right. You won't make it, and other lies you've been told.
Yeah.
How to cut through the noise and achieve your ultimate goals.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let me know when it's on the shelf.
You got it. I will definitely do that.
Excellent.
We'll come back. We'll put a copy on the
Put a
table.
copy. Yes, we'll have episode 2 with you. Excellent. I love that. Now, the tale of us getting together and knowing each other is through the American Marketing Association Phoenix chapter.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experience with the chapter and, just why is it such a great organization to know about and be a part of?
Yeah, absolutely. The American Marketing Association in general is such a great organization, and they have a long-standing reputation. And really, it's one of the only marketing associations that does encompass that whole umbrella that we were talking about of all the different things that make up marketing. So it is an all-encompassing organization, and specifically here in Arizona and in Phoenix, we have such an interesting economy. We have an interesting population in terms of diversity. And we have a lot of urban sprawl. I mean, the valley's a big, big space.
It's very wide.
and it's growing very fast. We have a lot of people moving here for a lot of reasons. The industry shift that we're seeing around technology companies and aerospace, and just the shift from tourism to technology over the last, that's a couple of decade evolution at this point. But the American Marketing Association is really well positioned to help connect all of that work and all of those people in really productive ways. I'm really proud of the fact that our local chapter has been doing a lot of work to connect with the other associations in the Valley that support marketing, that support advertising, that support multicultural marketing agencies, and really being thoughtful about how we come together as a marketing community to not only talk about what it means to do marketing well, but to stay on trend with the things that are coming and the things that are shifting. You mentioned AI earlier. We just had a panel conversation yesterday on generative AI and the future of marketing. And we had some of those experts like right here in our backyard, which is a super exciting opportunity. And I think that this group in particular does an exceptional job of recognizing all of the incredible work that happens by not just agencies, but from corporations and organizations in the region. We're considered a medium-sized chapter in terms of like the national structure, and I'm excited to see it grow in the months and years to come as our industry continues to change and as our economy here in Phoenix continues to shift.
Excellent. I feel historically a chapter has done a really great job of connecting. I know I've had the pleasure of being a sponsor and doing the virtual facilitation since 2020 COVID.
Yeah.
And I want to say September every single year, there's the Datos, can you explain? I think that is honestly one of the best programmings because it's just such great data and insight into, a huge population here in Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. So we partner with the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to basically share this really important research that is done about the buying power here in Arizona, and particularly with the Hispanic community. We have obviously a large population center of Hispanics that are making lots of buying decisions. And I think that it's a very unique thing to our region. And so I love being able to bring not only that research to the table, but to hear from the experts that are participating in those conversations that are helping us all learn how to do it better and how to relate better. I think that that's something that I've seen happen over time in marketing as we've sort of lost ourselves in some senses around chasing numbers on spreadsheets and trying to hit metrics and trying to hit performance goals because those are important. But we sometimes lose sight of the humanity and that it's still people making choices. And we have to relate to them in authentic ways that matter to them. Because that's what marketing is all about. It's about storytelling and connecting. And that Dados presentation and that rich data that we get to learn from is so powerful. And I believe Monica Villalobos, she just got her doctorate, celebrating her this last year in her continuing education and how she brings just such warmth and such depth to the sharing of that data, right? Data can be hard to understand.
But it makes it so interesting. Like I've seen it so many years, and every year when I see that it's another, one of those presentations, it's just like the way that they present it, it's fascinating. The information I think is very valuable. It's important to get that type of data.
It is. And they do a wonderful job of explaining what the data means.
Right. Not just here's a bunch of numbers at you. It's why do we care about this?
Exactly. And that's the special part, at least from where I sit. Like that's the special part is they add all the context and all the flavor to the importance of the numbers.
Excellent. Yeah. So tell me, what's your favorite animal with a tail?
My favorite animal with a tail. Oh my gosh. The pressure. I'm a dog mom of 3, so I definitely have to lean into the dog. I'm sure you get dog or cat.
I'm team cat. I have 2 kitty cats. I've had cats all my life. I love kitty cats. Now, I like being an aunt to a dog. I like being able to say hi, play with the dog. Maybe if it knows how to play fetch, cool. I'm not walking and picking up its poo. No, that's where like being an aunt to a dog is really fun.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I think if I were to, it's very hard for me to pick like an exotic animal with a tail. Right?
Oh, that's a lot.
But I would say in that case, I would pick a tiger, which, cat family, right? Because growing up, I was a huge Winnie the Pooh fan and Tigger was my favorite. I actually have a little stuffed Tigger that sits on my windowsill as my reminder of like
it's not inside
the bouncy, flancy, fun, right? So.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah. No, I'm surprised it's not inside the car, so you can just have like this nostalgic car of things.
I do have the fuzzy dice in the car.
Oh, so. Classic. Yes. No, you gotta have the fuzzy dice in the car. That is excellent. Is it also blue? Are they blue dye?
Blue and gray, yes.
Blue and gray, of course. Gotta keep it
Everything
matching.
has to coordinate.
Everything. That is excellent. So, another thing I would love to know is what was one of your biggest challenges as you've been, growing up in your business, as you've been building your business? What are some challenges that you've ran into and how have you been able to overcome them?
It's a great question. And I think anybody that tells you that they haven't had challenges is lying.
Yes. Or not trying hard enough to grow their business.
Right.
Yes.
I think I heard somewhere it's like if you don't have your head in your hands at least once a day, you're doing it wrong. And I have certainly I've had moments where I felt that. I think it's incredibly common for people to run into imposter syndrome. I certainly did, and still do sometimes, right? Like I'm not afraid to admit that sometimes you do get to a point like, who said I could come out here? Oh, wait, I don't need permission. When it comes to challenges to overcome, there are always going to be battles. There's always going to be something on your list that you have to deal with as a business owner. But when it comes to challenges, it's never as bad as you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety has a way of making you think something is way worse than it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a consistent thing where it's okay to acknowledge that something might be stressing you out, but don't overthink it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't overthink it. And I think that the other thing is we often undervalue what we do as business owners. I think we have I think there's often this sense of, I'm not the big guy, I'm not the enterprise, I'm not, and it's like, you're worth more than you are giving yourself credit for. And so I think a lot of reasons that small businesses don't make it past that 3 or 5 year mark is they run out of money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that, I think, is self-imposed, because we don't charge enough for the value we provide, and we don't focus on the profit of our companies.
Mm-hmm.
Revenue and profit are not the same thing. We take in money and we spend money, but there also has to be profit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's one of the biggest things that I see happen is just some even light financial planning around what success looks like is important. And that does not mean that you have to be striving to build a $50 million business.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build whatever success looks and feels like for you.
And this moment in time.
In this moment in time, and in your circumstances. Because I frankly believe that it is not about how much money you can make, it's about how many people you can help. Because if that's the mentality you take, the money's going to flow.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's a great tip. Write that one down if you didn't. So tell me a tale you wish you would have told your younger self.
I'm sort of picturing like 5-year-old Meredith sitting on the floor playing with her toys and thinking, what does that little girl need to hear from me? Yeah. You are going to do and experience more things than you can even imagine. And it's going to be hard sometimes, but it is always worth it. Always worth it. When I think back on what I aspired to be, if I were to go back over 20 years now when I was in college, what I thought I wanted, if I had gotten what I wanted, I think I would be miserable.
What did you want?
My aspiration, at the time, this is kind of, I still laugh at myself when I think about this. I wanted to be a high-powered corporate attorney living in Manhattan in a penthouse apartment, wearing pencil skirts and drinking martinis till 11 o'clock at night. Like, that was what I had pictured for myself.
Yeah?
And I think, if that was my reality, I would be miserable. I would be so miserable. I still have that version of me in my head sometimes when I need to like call on a certain kind of strength.
Right.
But if that was my life, if that was what I had actually pursued, sitting here today, feeling the way I feel about what I do right now and how satisfying and enjoyable that is, oh my gosh, I would be miserable.
Oh, man. Isn't it amazing how life can just take those twists and turns? And, it always makes me think one of my favorite songs, Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. They're always too fast you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on.
Yep.
And I regularly have thought about that phrase in my life. That you're just like, in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on.
Absolutely.
There's always time to change the road. But no matter which road you take, I think it's just about, how you feel inside. It's amazing how much your gut tells you whether you're on the right path or not.
Very true.
And then lean into that.
Yeah. Trust that gut instinct. It's there for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how much is in the gut between just, this instincts and decision making, just your health. They say like so much of your immune system is just right there in your gut.
Yep.
So take your probiotics.
Yes, that is a good suggestion.
Yes.
Healthy gut, healthy mind.
Yes. So as we come to a close, what would be just like the one piece of advice if, the audience wasn't going to remember a single thing from everything we said, although you've been dropping so much gold, what would be that one piece of advice you'd want people to walk away with?
It's never too late to start. It truly is never too late to start.
I love that. It's amazing, all the different chapters in life. I was literally having a conversation fairly recently with someone, retirement age, and they wanted to do something, never did. I'm like, why don't you do it? It's just, you're still alive, you're still breathing.
Yeah.
So you're right. So it's never too late to start whatever has been burning inside of you that you've been wanting to do. Just go ahead and just get started. Just do it. Like I have said before, write it down. It's not real until it's written down. Write down those due dates. Write down those goals. There's a magic in actually physically writing it down.
Yeah, it's amazing how much momentum that first step will create.
Yeah. It's just like exercising. It's like when you get into an exercise routine, the hardest is day one.
Yes.
It's actually putting on those shoes. It's actually going outside, running or getting into the car and walking into the gym. But then after you've done it once, you're like, okay, I've done this. I can do it again. I can do it again.
Yep.
So how can people stay connected with you and learn about all the amazing things that you do and even connect with you about helping their strategy for their business?
Yes, absolutely. So compressionmarketing.co is where you can learn all about the work that we do. You can see some of the clients that we've spent time with and what the work looks like. We're always happy to hear from you there. I am on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time there sharing thought leadership, sharing commentary on what's happening in marketing these days, and also representing the American Marketing Association there as well. And would love to just have an opportunity to connect with anybody. Like I said, if you drop a form on our website, it's coming to me. I'm gonna see that. I'm gonna reply in person. I think that there's a lot of value in the one-to-one connections. So if you need time, I'm always here to share it.
No, you're right with the one-to-one connections, although there's still like automation, and we do use a little bit of automation.
Oh, yeah.
I still regularly make phone calls, emails. Amira, who's been with us for, I want to say almost like 7 or 8 years now, she does regular emails for us. Yeah, it's still good to have that human touch because there's only so much a bot can do.
100%. Yes, exactly.
Well, Meredith, thank you so much for being here today. We're going to have all the links that Meredith just mentioned in the show notes at taleswithtaylor.com. Make sure you stay connected and definitely connect on LinkedIn because you do post some really great pieces of content and educate people. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for being here, and just get started, people.
Thank you for watching Tales with Taylor. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Financial Potion YouTube channel to never miss an episode.